What's up, guys? ZFarls back here with the MUT Podcast. Now, today we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but basically, I made this video. I ripped premium packs, which were unlimited on the weekend, and they were going for 80,000 coins, so I had a bunch. I figured might as well grab some guys. I pulled a Tim Jennings in the first pack, 94 speed. It's a pretty good item. I wish he was maybe a few inches taller, and then I get a guard here. Once again, won't play over my legend cards, but still some good players here. Now this next gen Casey Hayward came out. He's actually really underrated corner in the game as well, and you can see he has pretty good statistics in MUT. That Varine's really nice. So this was actually a great opening pack, and was glad that I ripped it. But I'm probably gonna play the Varine as maybe a backup to Barry Sanders. He can catch, and will be a good item to have. So I'll put some of those guys on my roster here and just keep digging. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Flappy Bird, why not, maybe some League of Legends, maybe some Ultimate Team. I have some gameplay coming up too at the end of this video. So that was a good first pack, and we'll keep buying here. I think we buy maybe 8 packs or something like that. Some good ones, some bad ones, but always fun to rip some packs, especially the premium ones when there's no limit. So keep digging through here. We get a Paul Warlow, which honestly never really heard of him. So, Falcons kind of stunk this year. He's got some pretty good stats, though, and would be a pretty nice player, once again, if he didn't have all legends. Casey Hayward, I pulled the second version of him, so now I am going to be able to complete that collection. And, of course, that Hayward ends up as a really nice item. He ends up with, he's still not quite as tall as you might like to see, but, he's gone up 13 points. Overall, he's 94, and he's going to have 93 speed, which is legit, and some man coverage up in the high 90s as well. So he's actually going to be a really good item for players. I'd still take the Elite Cromartie over him, but that's a decision just because of the height. All right, we keep digging through here. Now this pack is going to be a bad pack for us. The Deacon Jones is, of course, a rookie, not the real thing. So we're going to not really get too much else out of this pack. Just some guys to discard and throw away. Now, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I would consider this pack a loss. Now, my personal high score in Flappy Bird, since you asked, is now 100. So I started out, I kept getting 2, kept getting 3, thought it was a joke, and then as more people started to play it, I said maybe it's not a joke. And it is kind of a joke, but I got up to about, I couldn't break the 25 barrier. Couldn't break it, got up to, then I had one long run of about 50, and now every time I'm getting about 30, 35, getting into the 50s every maybe 3 turns, and then I had one long one. Now I pull another Deacon Jones rookie in the same slot, so I don't know, this was a tough pack, but then I pulled this Cliff Averill, a playoff edition, 85 speed, not a card I'm going to use, but for the right kind of player, could be a pretty good item. He was pretty nice during the Seahawks run. But 2 rookie legends. Once again, the only real legend I've ever pulled was Sammy Baugh. I think the first week of the game, and I was excited, but I wasn't really sure how rare it was, and it was a cool feeling. But then I did the collection, which meant I couldn't have sold him, which he's not really a great Ultimate Team quarterback. So my legend experience has been all purchasing. I haven't really had the joy of pulling a true legend. I pulled so many rookie legends that I'm just sour about it. Now this Greg Olsen is a card I've been looking to target. 90 catching traffic, 6'5", 88 speed. I'm still running with the elite versions of the Graham and Gronk, even though there's better ones out there. I picked up a Julius Thomas, but he doesn't really have what I'm looking for. Yeah, he's about as good as the Olsen, but I like the bigger targeted guys that are going to hang on to the ball. So I do need to either get the better Graham or just go to this Olsen. So I am going to eventually move that Olsen to my lineup. As we keep going through packs here, once again, sample gameplay coming up after this game. I buy a new card to go along with that Vick that I want to show you and how I'm going to use it. DeAndre Hopkins, I've already shown you that I've pulled one of those. Not a bad item. Once again, if you didn't have the Legends, a good item. And then a Jerry Rice rookie, which, nothing great. But back to Flappy Bird. Gibbs pulled off a 125, and I wasn't really trying to catch him because he was playing a lot more than me, so I wasn't mad that he was actually pretty good at it. But, now that I've broken the 100 barrier. It's just about staying focused and just clicking on and making plays. So it is kind of fun, but obviously not on the iTunes store anymore. But I was playing, you know, trying to just win my personal friend leaderboard on Droid, and I was able to get to the top of my board. Two more premium packs here, still pulling on this. It was a Saturday. Once again, only one rookie legend, Joe Montana, and that was me cycling through really fast in anger. But once again, we did get some packs. I probably should have just hung on to the coins I had and shopped the market, because I only need a few upgrades at each position, but I just couldn't resist pulling some packs. I hadn't pulled packs in, honestly, a wicked long time. Here I pull a Mike Lennon, which, once again, just really, really not good. Tampa Hully, that'd be a good card, once again, if you didn't have Legends, and I've already got that guard, so, once again, I already had the Clay, so some repeats, and just mixing it up. If any of you guys are on Xbox One and want some of these items. So here are the cards that I do end up keeping, as you saw there, and then I'm going to move this Greg Olson to my active squad. I'm going to make the Casey Hayward official and turn him into a legend. And then I noticed that I had 2 unopened packs, which one was a bonus pack and one the Lombardi pack. Now, I'm not fully in on this Lombardi pack stuff. I'm still kind of learning what's going on with that. You know, since the season ended, it's something you got to pay attention to. I think it gets you in position for the next season of Ultimate Team, but I've heard the rewards have been sometimes worth it, sometimes not worth it for the next year's game. So that really depends on what you can get for it. Now, I'll give you a little rundown of my scheme here. I picked up an Eric Dickerson 99 overall card before this game started. He's a trucking style back. I've been using the Barry, but I wanted somebody that could, you know, truck. And I figured the Marshawn Lynch I had that was only elite wasn't a newer version of it, so he needed to be upgraded, so I picked up the Dickerson. And I go back to one of my bread and butter runs from earlier in the season, the single back ace, halfback zone week. Now I know everyone runs strong power, everyone runs buck sweep and all that jazz, but this run here is just one of the most simple you can run. I've broken it down before. Here he takes this guy off the line of scrimmage to the left. I'm just going to run left, L trigger, right stick, and just try and truck some guys. So Dickerson picks up 10 there. And, you know, once again, when I play Ultimate Team, I always take it back to the huddle. That's going to make the clock run off. Even if I know I want to call that run again, I'm just going to take it back to the huddle to get the quick run off. Keep my drive going. You'll see this is going to be a pretty long drive, and I'm able to control the game, especially if he's getting the ball at halftime. I want to make sure that when I score, you know, I'm dictating the clock and the pace of the game. Talk a little bit about League of Legends. New game, obviously not new to me, but I'm gonna start going with an Ash character who is got a bow and deals some damage. So I'm looking to get into that. So if you have tips on setups for Ash, or if you think that there's a better card for champion, I guess, for me to start with, let me know. Or if you play, add me on the game. It's ZFarls as well. So if you guys are League of Legends fans, let me know. It seems interesting. I know it's super popular right now, so just figured to check it out and see what the craze is. I thought it was kind of dumb just because you're only really hitting 2 mouse buttons. Click, you know, click to go, click to attack. But obviously it's super in-depth. There's over 100 characters and different setups and, you know, all types of different things you can do in the game. So I'm interested in just checking it out and seeing how people are competing in these games, because these games are going to be obviously sticking around for a long time, whether it's Defense of the Ancients 2 or, you know, if other games are going to start coming out. So why not jump in on the and ride the wave while it's here. Alright, so back out in this formation again. It lagged a little, but then it picks up, so don't worry. With Dickerson here, now I have Michael Vick, so from single back ace I could pretty much scramble to my heart's content, especially if they're going to run commit. Here I streaked Y, and I put A on a cross. So I knew I'm going to roll out left with Vick, so you want to have a route that is going to come back to the middle of the field and kind of mirror your rollout with Vick. You want to clear out one tight end as much as you can, just to give yourself some space, and just kind of let Vick make plays. But once again, we're keeping Dickerson in the game. In this situation, the stretch isn't really there, so the dive is. So the dive being your quick audible is nice, and we're going to L trigger and right stick up for Dickerson. And, you know, I have 3 carries so far, over 10 a carry, and that's going to keep the drive moving. You know, the dive isn't as deadly, but it's going to pick you up less yards, but it's going to be more consistent if you read it right. So here he run commits. We can't quite get outside, and he stops us for a yard, but we almost had a chance to get it out there. If I think they're going to run commit, I'll go to strong close, and I'll run the quick toss, just because sometimes they can really get burnt by it. But here what I'm going to do is put in I'm going to sub out the Gronk and the Graham and put in the Olsen. Try and put in better run blockers if I can. So he's calling a lot of zones, so I'm going to try and call a screen to Dickerson. What you'll see me do here is drag Olsen on the left at tight end, so he's going to be in the way by the time Dickerson catches the ball. With Vick, you want to roll like a madman. I mean, this is aggressive and kind of ridiculous, but it works out in my favor. So I try and take it to the tacklers, even though it's 3, pick up 5 or 6 yards. And with that Vick, on next gen, the screen heat is so fast. Obviously, you're pulling linemen, so they're not having anybody block them, but the defenders come in so fast. Here we go with the dive. Try and fall forward. We pretty much do. Notice we've wasted the entire first quarter just on a drive and, you know, just trying to control the clock as much as possible. Now, we're going to obviously go for it here. What we like to do is go to goal line, use the package button with the right stick to put in wide receiver wing package, because then they don't know that it's goal line when it shows their personnel. I mean, this guy already picked his play, it showed, but we're just going to hike it and look to get the inch with Vick. And we do get the inch, and it gives us a yard. So we advance to a first down, we take it back to the huddle, let that time run off. And now in this situation, you know, we're hoping that he has to pass the ball by the time I score with what's left in the 2-minute quarter, in the second quarter. He's obviously going to get it at half, so that's pretty big. Here we try and sneak in a wrap just for the fans that are like, yo, let Vick run free. And I'm like, okay, I'll try a QB wrap. And it almost hold the edge, but we don't, because number 80 lets up the block to LT. Now, LT is a great player, but maybe if I have Donald Penn in there, who's another lineman, that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to sub him in with RB. I'm going to put Donald Penn in, left tackle ghost card. Just more blocking, put a tight end out wide. I know I'm going to run it. Not great to pass to, but you know, I got to take my chances here. I'm going to flip the play. I come out with it to the right, but I flip it left so I can get into it quick. And I'm going to put Barry back in, just as he's a speed guy around the edge. Try and juke. Barry's fighting, and he picks up 3rd and inches. 3rd and inches is interesting because you can either go with the sneak right away on 3rd and inches, or you can just run a real play and then sneak it on 4th and inches. So it's really up to you if you get into an inches situation here with the goal line. That depends as well. Maybe come out and see the front. But, you know, he's moving his guy to the right side there. And he ran commit, and we're just going to make the simple throw. Something I'd like to see in the new Madden is the tight end's ability to cut upfield there. Obviously, Olsen was open on the flat pass. We want to keep his momentum going upfield and not almost let him run back past the first down marker. So hopefully that's something that can get fixed up. But we pick it up, and then we're going to go back to this formation again. Dickerson trying to get him his first career touchdown on Team Madden Bible, and he gets it down to the 2. I think Barry might have squeezed through there, obviously, but if Dickerson was able to get his head down a little earlier, he could have trucked. And here what we're going to do is we know that we're going to the 2-minute warning, so we hurry up. We audible to read option. If he's run committing, read option's probably going to work here, as I see can keep it with Vick. But if you're not 1,000% sure, you just take it to the 2-minute warning now. That gets rid of a full clock. You're probably going to score. But once again, he gets ball. So if he gets ball here and scores on a 1:30 drive and then gets ball at half, it's not dangerous, but it's, you know, you're giving him an advantage. So I want to make him take timeouts or make him have as little bit of time as possible. Here he does a good job run committing, and Dickerson gets tackled for no gain. We go hurry up here just to try and get him out of position. I was gonna see how his defense got lined up, but we're just gonna roll with Vick and just run it. I mean, that's why you have Michael Vick. You can still cheese it up if you like, and he's got to have containment there. I figured he was going to run commit, so I just wanted to get outside the pocket and break it down. Ultimately, that was a six-minute drive, and now we're in control of this game. So, minute 45, he's going to have to start passing it, hopefully, and we can take advantage of that. He's not going to be able to do a full run scheme down the field. Any other? So we also are still doing This Week in Madden, which is our weekly show where you can ask questions and get tips live on the air every Wednesday at 8 o'clock on twitch.tv/MaddenTips. You know, you can go to MaddenTips.com and hit up the forum and leave your questions. But we'll be breaking down depth charts, we'll be breaking down tips, just playing games and stuff like that. So once again, 3-4 trio sky zone. It's my base run defense. It can stop the pass a little bit. I've got a breakdown if you want to check it out, but here he rolls back and can't complete the pass. And you know, I'll come out in 3-4 trio sky on first down, or if it's 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, or 2 running backs or less. Once he goes up to 3, I can hang. I can hang with this with 3 wide receivers, but ideally you go up to something a little bit bigger. But a lot of guys run that buck sweep, and that's a 3 wide receiver set. So you do want to call that against that, but usually it's a passing situation. Here I go with Night Train. Look at me, user Night Train. Get there, Night Train. Hold down Y. Get it. Night Train shadowed his route, saw the post coming from the slot. Great play by me, no offense. In the deep middle zone, following that, because that could have been a big gain if I had bit on the run fake, and ultimately can't make the play on the ball. But my other defender got there, and he forced the catch tackle for the drop. Let's see. Now we're going to gas up some heat on 3rd and 10. He's going to come out and bunch to the left, which I'm blitzing from that edge, so not the ideal. It would be ideal if he was calling this bunch to the other side. Once again, sit right over the middle of Night Train, and he throws it anyway to Hilton, who I don't know what version of Hilton that is, but there's a really, 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 really good T.Y. Hilton card at receiver. There's a receiver card that I really like. It's the Football Outsiders Hilton. I think it's one of the best in the game. I think it's similar to that Josh Gordon that I have on my team. That's I'd call a top receiver. You know, obviously you have the Moss #1. I would say Rice #2. Megatron's just not really that fast. There's a Super Bowl Rice that's pretty fly, or maybe it's the Pro Bowl Rice, 99 catch and traffic, 95 speed. I like that card. There's a Super Bowl Irvin, 96 speed, 97 catch and traffic. So I'd put those cards maybe 2 and 3. That Gordon though, 4. And you know, depending on what you like for your 5th card, that's up to you. But I would say probably the Megatron just as overall really good item, but maybe you want something more specific. Here we get beat man-to-man across the middle. I think he goes Reggie Wayne. I think this guy had a Colts team. I don't know. I go to check his team later. I wanted to at the start, but looks like he has Reggie Wayne, Josh Gordon, Keenan Allen. Can't tell if that's Lucker Rogers. He tries to bomb Deion Sanders. One-handed pick. Game over, son. Set and match. Don't try Deion. What I did there, 2 men under. He let him try me, and then he gives up. All right, guys. That is all, though, for this week, the ZFarls podcast. I look forward to talking with you guys more, and let me know what you want to see in the future. If you want to see more bundle rips, if you want to see more other games, I'll play League of Legends. I don't care. Even though I'm terrible. Add me, ZFarls. Hit me up on Twitter, @MaddenBible, and we'll see you for This Week in Madden on Wednesday. But that's it. Maybe I'll show you some more MUT later, and give me a like if you enjoyed this. All right, guys. Peace out.